Hi everyone. I am here with Danae Shanti, one of my incredible teachers. I met Danae a few years ago, and she has, really transformed my life in so many ways. Mainly, I have learned from her how to really reconnect to my intuition and connect with my spirit guides and learn how to listen in the moment to what life is asking of me and what my body's trying to tell me. So, Danae, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah,
Yay.
it's an honor. I'd love to start off with, I know you have such an incredible story, and just kind of tell everyone how stepping into, this life that you've created for yourself, how it's shifted and benefited you in, I'm sure, so many ways, but just whatever comes up for you now.
Yeah.
'Cause I know
Yeah.
it's a pretty direct shift for you.
It was. And it's intuition doesn't always work that way. So there's not an expectation or a way that it's supposed to happen as a person starts to connect with their intuition. I think it's useful to share my story just to show the dramatic shift because that can happen too. So I was in an executive position and married in a very unhealthy marriage to an alcoholic. And I was pretty depressed and upset and angry and lost. It was kind of like an extended dark night of the soul. It just kept going and going
Mm.
and going. And I didn't know where to go to get comfort. I didn't know why I felt so lost. I felt like I was in the wrong life. And so, in my experience, it just happened that I had what's called a spiritual emergence, which is when different faculties and aspects of intuition suddenly come online and wake up. And I won't go into how all that happened. It's a long story. Let's just say it's called a spiritual emergence, and it can happen to anyone at any moment. There's nothing that you do to cause that to occur. So with this spiritual emergence, I suddenly was able to have a big picture understanding that I was much more than my personality, my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts, and my fears. And I was able to have contact with a bigger space of unconditional love that was informing me that there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of insight available to access, and that is called intuition. It opened up a whole world of me feeling supported and safe, knowing that there was a bigger body of love to hold me in my life and help guide me through some really tough decisions. So that would be my blanket statement about how intuition shifted my life. Initially, went from dark depression, dark night of the soul, lost to wow, there's so much love and support available to help inform me and guide me and help me make decisions. I want to learn how to use that. How do I access that? How do I hear, feel, sense, and listen to the intuitive voice?
Thank you.
Mm,
And I know you really live by your intuition.
yeah.
And it's so infused into your daily life and into the mundane. So
Mhm.
I would love for you to share just how that looks like for you on a practical daily basis.
Sure. So right now, my intuition is feeling like to tell a story, a more dramatic story. I'm sure there's a lot of single moms out there, and I used my intuition to help me navigate that journey. This is an example. When you're raising children, if you're in a single mom position, sometimes you're under a lot of stress. You're trying to be the provider and the nurturer at the same time, and the children always have to come first, so that sometimes means your own needs come last. So there were times in raising my son where he was going through different growth spurts, and me not having been a male, at least in this lifetime, sometimes there were things that he was saying that in my female mother body, I could have felt like he was showing tremendous disrespect
Mm.
and gone into a personality response and a reaction and gotten into my ego. You respect your mother. I blah, 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 blah. And instead of that, when something different would come out of his mouth than I was expecting, my intuition would come right up in my awareness and say, he's innocent right now. He doesn't know what that word means. A bigger kid on the bus told him to use it, and he was challenged to use it, and he wants to be a cool boy,
Mm.
among boys, so he's trying it out. And that kind of knowledge in the moment helped inform my response. So instead of going into defensiveness or discipline, I literally stopped, listened to my issue and my intuition. I said to him, sweetie, do you know what that word means? And he's like, no. I was like, well, where did you hear that word? He's like, well, some kid on the bus told me to say it when I got in the house. I was like, so that's a practical application, all right? I use intuition for my health. I'm navigating an autoimmune disease in my body. And there are times where I have an appetite and a hunger for something, and I have to check with my body and my intuition. Does it serve me to have that food at this time, or is there something more absorbable for me that gives me what my body's looking for? What's the nutrient my body's after? And I'll be given images and pictures of which foods to select. Then so that's some of the more mundane stuff. I meditate every morning because it makes a big difference. I always say to my clients this way, wake up and know who you are. You know, we're not the personality, we're not the thoughts, we're not the beliefs, we're not the knee-jerk responses, we're not disconnected robots. We're sacred, divine people. Whether we feel like we are or not, that is the fact of who we are. So when you wake up and you have different practices to access self-connection, it really sets you up for a day of success because you have self-resourcing. And then as you go through your day, there might be bumps in the day where you get triggered or activated, and you can pause and tune in and say, what was that actually about? Instead of just jumping into articulating a reaction, to ask, what was that about? What got triggered there? And what's true about that? Is that my story? Is that my wounding? Um, what's actually true about all that? So intuition helps in relationship as well. It's intuition is very practical, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I'm curious. So for me personally, when I was going through the headache journey, I was completely disconnected to my body. I barely even had emotions. It was like nothing could phase me. And I think that's a natural thing when we're in pain. We don't want to feel the pain, so we check out. Um,
Absolutely.
so do you have any advice for women that are feeling that they don't feel like they are open to receive these messages, or they're not just receiving any messages that the body's trying to tell them?
Yeah, I could definitely speak to that. What you're saying is so beautiful, and I'm sure so many women are going to relate to what you're saying, myself included. When we are contracted, what's happening is all of our attention, it's like focused on a little grain of sand. And if that grain of sand is
Mm,
suffering, that becomes our whole world.
yes.
Yeah. So we're living into where our attention is. And all we're experiencing is living in the center of surviving suffering, whether it's physical suffering or emotional suffering. So a really good practice, opening to receive intuition in that situation really doesn't even apply. We're
Mhm.
not even there yet. What we want to do is expand our attention and our awareness so that the world that is our suffering becomes a grain of sand, and we have contact with a bigger environment around it, creating space. So something someone taught me that I love is to put your feet on the floor and focus on feeling the bottoms of your feet. It's very practical. You use your body as an anchor. So you just put your attention in the bottoms of your feet and feel your feet. It's very physical. And then after you feel your feet, you can see if you can bring in feeling the top of your head, and then you attempt to feel both your feet and the top of your head at the same time. What that's doing is stretching your attention and
Mm,
making it expand, and that creates space. Another part of that practice is from neurolinguistic programming, which is you have your eyes open and you're looking ahead, you're focusing on your periphery though.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does, it opens up the brain and opens up a relaxation response in the nervous system. So if you can get to a place where you're just simply, my attention's on my feet and my head, my eyes are open and I'm looking at my periphery, just that practice alone will create spaciousness. Now, when we're really trying to figure something out, especially if we're trying to figure out how to feel better, what happens is we get caught in a fight or flight response, our adrenals are kicking in, our left brain is activated, and we're trying to analyze our way through something, and often that makes it worse. That makes us contract more. In doing the practice I just described, it creates space and expansion. What arises in space and expansion is clarity.
Mm.
And you can call clarity intuition. You can say, oh, there's a gut feeling I have now, or, oh, my heart feels like it's relaxing and there's this sense of what I need to do. Or it could be a clarity that arises mentally. Suddenly you have an insight or an aha moment. That's a beautiful way for intuition to begin to speak. And from there, then you can expand. One of the practices I like to teach my students is to, after waking up in the morning and doing a centering practice, maybe a meditation practice or even the one I just described, is to get quiet and write down a question. Maybe there's something that you need support or help with. And you could just write the question down and then just sit and relax. Again, you could expand your attention and just be in stillness for a few minutes. Thinking is always going to happen. We can't stop thinking. We don't have to pay attention to thinking. So yammer, yammer, yammer. Your attention is still on the silence inside. And you just rest with the question. Sometimes when I suggest this to people, they'll then find themselves picking up the pen and writing an answer. It's like automatic writing. Something just comes from the intuition. It could be that a voice is speaking to you in your head, in your heart. It could be a gut feeling in your body. It could be pictures and sensations that come that guide and inform the moment. And one last quick practice. If none of that is working for you, let's say you have to choose between door A and door B. You imagine holding one of the choices in one palm and the other choice in the other palm. You really imagine these solutions in the two different hands. And then you close your eyes and you feel which hand feels most life-giving. And that is the one that will lead you to the answer that is going to serve you. And if it serves you, it serves everyone else for the highest good. So you could use your body to grasp your intuition as well.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard of that last part. That's awesome.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah, I love everything you just said. I know for me personally, it was a huge kind of revelation when I realized that kind of the thoughts around thoughts around headaches in general, trying to fix them. It was like it was so steeped into my subconscious and into everything I thought about.
Yes.
That I didn't even realize how it just overtook my entire being. And that's the exact feeling of like you're just kind of like honed in and completely shut down to anything trying to come in.
Yeah, our attention gets tunnel vision focused.
Yeah.
And then that one thing that can become a small piece in the center of a large universe becomes the whole world, and that's all we see. It's like the difference between maybe a small ground critter crawling along, only seeing what's immediately in front of it, versus an eagle's point of view or a hawk when they get the big picture.
Totally.
So really, intuition, just a very simple way to practice intuition is expand your attention and listen. Yeah.
And I love what you said about expanding literally your peripheral vision. That's actually a simple technique that I like to teach people, because when we contract our eyes and we focus it, especially, on the computer, we all do this, our diaphragm actually constricts as well. And then, we're tightening all the muscles in our neck and our jaw. And so I love kind of using that as the physical, tangible part of it, and then allowing yourself to just rest internally to receive the information.
Yeah, yeah. And you just brought up a brilliant point, and my being a breath trainer, I thank you for bringing it up because I totally blipped right over that, which is our breath, right?
Mm.
Contracted breath is going to keep you in a contracted
Mm.
state, so always dropping the diaphragm down to help elicit the relaxation response and open the body. Yeah, thank
Mhm.
you for saying that.
And I wonder, I want to get your thoughts on one thing. I notice sometimes if I'm trying to connect with my intuition, there's this trying behind it. It's like, okay, I'm going to try to receive a message. And I think that a lot of times is just completely getting in the way.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to surprise yourself? Like
I like,
suddenly tickle yourself. It just doesn't work.
right?
Oh, I'm going to tickle myself now. Tickle back. It's the same with intuition. It just, I think part of it is our intuition is so natural. If you watch toddlers and children up to around the age of 5, it's instinctual. We're born with innate intelligence. We're born with expanded awareness. Intuition is nothing, it's not a superpower. It's very, very normal. And what we've done is we've made it this fantastic thing to strive for, and
Yes.
that's where the trying comes. And really, it is just about relaxing and sensing and relaxing and sensing. Now, that being said, there are different layers and levels of developing intuition where you can become a master channel and you're channeling high frequency intelligence. And I've done stuff like that for years. That's not everyone's goal, and that's not necessary for daily navigating. It's fun. It's not necessary.
Yeah, totally. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And then, one thing I'm curious to hear, a big part of this series is dropping the idea that there's something to fix, and kind of that search of trying to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like what I went through in that search would have given anyone a headache. And
Yeah,
so that was so important for my journey to just, it was a very subtle shift in perspective of, okay, I'm going to stop trying to fix this, and I'm just going to just going to be open, and almost like it's not like a giving up, but it's just a gentle surrender of, okay, I'm going to work with this and
yeah,
see what I can receive from it.
yeah. I love your words, gentle surrender, and I would include in that that's called being present.
Yes.
Not an argument with what is happening. You're not trying to change what is happening. There's nothing wrong and
Mhm.
there's nothing to fix, yet meeting it, right? So I often say this to people. If you are in physical pain, see if you can find the central point of the pain. Most of us can't, because pain is usually a vicinity of energy, of
Mhm.
contracted energy, and there is not actually a point of pain, unless you broke a bone, something like that. But where in general suffering, it's the thinking about the pain that amplifies the pain. I just did a talk at Unity, um, and there were 3 people in severe pain when we started. And I took them through the exercises I've shared with you here today. And by the end of the exercises, all 3 of them were completely pain free.
Wow.
What they got was they were so focused in their attention on the pain, thinking something was wrong, identifying with the thought that I am a person who is in pain, which then gave them a layer of identity of attachment, which causes more suffering, and then trap them in the prison of I'm a victim of my pain. And then there's nowhere to go.
Hmm.
So again, relaxing the body, expanding the conscious awareness, and being present to what is bringing your attention to it. Let's say I had a knot right in my gut. Well, my immediate reaction would be to try and avoid the pain. We do that emotionally too. Oh, if I just stay a step ahead of the pain,
Hmm.
I never have to actually encounter it. Yet if we stop, just pause, push the pause button and stop and get still and meet the pain, whether it's emotionally or physically. We literally come right up to it and meet it. We're saying hello. And we're acknowledging something that's asking for our attention because it usually has a message for us. And in that meeting, it stops screaming and dissipates.
Mm.
Yeah.
You just like described what this whole 6 week series is based upon. Thank you.
Yay.
Like, oh, I need to like use that as my intro video. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember one time I had this experience where it was just a really simple feeling. Also kind of a visual component to it where I realized like if the headache is a thing right here, I spent my whole life just like just
Yeah.
anything to not look at it and just get it away from me.
Yeah.
And I imagined myself just kind of like turning to it and like
Yeah.
looking at it and just okay, you're there. I'm here. I'm with you, and
Yes.
this is just what it is. I'm just gonna
Yes.
sit with this.
I love what you just described, and I seem to want to bridge it over to relationship because I work with men and women, a lot of men, a lot of women though, and we're so sensitive as women, and most of us are empaths, and we feel so much around everyone around us that we do shut down, and then we walk in the world in a shut down way just to survive. And what I've learned about applying intuition and being present in relationship is, you could choose a different partner over and over and over again. The pattern that you have of your own pain goes with you. So it doesn't matter who the body is standing in front of you. If it's your pattern, you're going to bring that pattern to that relationship, and it is going to rear its head yet again. So even in that, emotionally, when we have triggers and we're like, ugh, I hate when I get angry like that, or there's my judgmental side again, or there's my impatience showing up. Like to turn and acknowledge that and face that without judging ourselves, to face that and be like, wow, I wonder what that's rooted in. I bet you there's a need I have that I'm not meeting. And if I get curious, and curiosity is a great medicine, if I get curious about that, I wonder what I might learn about myself. And so when we're in relationship with ourselves in a more conscious way, we're then able to bring that to a partner. So imagine yourself, you're in an interaction with a partner, and the pain trigger gets beep, there's the button, right? And you're all fangs and reaction and claws. And instead of that, what if you hit the pause button and we're like, I notice I'm really wanting to react right now. I'm curious about what you meant. This is what you said. What did you actually mean? And what are you actually feeling? And is there a need you have that's not being met that you're trying to tell me about? And to just get really kind and compassionate with each other and come out of reaction. Pain is pretty much a part of life. Suffering is optional though. We create a lot of our own suffering by not wanting to be present and have contact with what is actually happening. So I know that's an aside. It just felt like coming up.
I love that. I feel like everything can be so easily reflected in relationships. It's such a good opportunity to see what these patterns are.
Oh yeah.
Such good stuff. I would love to end with, you gave, a couple really incredible, simple practices. But yeah, just a little few-minute thing on dropping into the body and what someone could, kind of remember to come back to when they're in pain, and do it anywhere.
Yeah.
So you would be open to just kind of guiding us through that feeling.
Oh, sure. So let's do that together now.
Yeah, I love that.
If you can, find your feet on the floor. I'm going to close my eyes for this. You're welcome to do so. Find the bottoms of your feet and feel from the heel to the balls of your feet and then the tips of your toes. And feel how your arch is. Maybe you have a collapsed arch. Maybe it's got a curve. Just feel the whole shape of the bottom of your feet now. And you can rest one hand on your solar plexus. So that's right below the rib cage and above the navel. And this is where the diaphragm is located. So resting one hand on the solar plexus while feeling your feet. And the hand is on the solar plexus to help us to breathe down underneath our hands. So when we're breathing in, The hand should be expanding away from the body. When we're exhaling, the hand should be collapsing back down toward the body. Let's just do that one simple practice. Feel our feet, breathe into our hand nice and slow. And notice anywhere in your body where there's tension. Anywhere you feel tight or contracted, maybe your heart is moving, pumping fast, maybe the adrenals are aching, maybe there's a pain somewhere. Just notice. And as you're feeling your feet and breathing quietly in your belly, bring your attention to let's just pick one point, to any point of tension, and just greet it with your mind, greet it with your attention, and say hello quietly inside, and just hang out with it. And notice as your attention is on this point of contraction, as you be present with it, just if it starts to shift in any way. And this is a good place for people to continue this part of the exercise, but for our sake, I'm going to pull us out of it. So I still want the attention inward, still attention on the bottoms of the feet. Let the hand drop away from the belly, and yet keep the soft breath in that center belly area. And now let's open our eyes and just pick a point on the horizon. Eyes are wide but not tense. And look as far out of the periphery as you can while you're feeling the shapes of the bottom of your feet, breathing softly in your belly and looking out of your periphery. We'll just take like 15 seconds in silence. Just notice what you notice around being calm and spacious. And gently, softly, as you're ready, you can bring your attention back to the screen. You might like to keep feeling your feet, keep breathing softly to keep that relaxation response happening.
Wow, it's amazing how, like, just by expanding and relaxing your vision, I felt spaciousness and kind of relaxation in my entire being. It was like everything opened up.
Yes, and that's the beauty of it. It's not just the body, it's our essence, it's our whole being goes, ah.
Wow. Yeah. I've really been also personally just enjoying placing my hand on my solar plexus, on my diaphragm. I really feel it relax my diaphragm and just open up my breathing.
Yeah, hands on the body. Number one rule, hands on the body.
Yeah, love it.
Love.
Yeah, such a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Danae. This has been absolutely incredible.
My great pleasure.
I know you're really starting to put yourself out in the world again and traveling. Yeah, you do so many amazing things. I'd love for you to share what feels alive for you right now and with the channeled songs and everything.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So for 35 years, I've traveled all over the country teaching intuition, helping people to spiritually wake up. And music has always been a part of that. And I promised myself at some point in my life, I would reverse positions and let the music be first and the sound healing and they're called medicine songs. I channel people's songs of healings and let the teaching of intuition go in the background. So I feel I have enough product base out now that teaches intuition without me teaching it, that people could get the intuitive training by going to my website. I am going, probably when this comes out, I'll be in Ecuador and just doing a little sabbatical. And when I return from Ecuador, I'm available to start traveling the country and internationally, probably in 2021 or later 2020, to bring these kinds of practices and intuitive music, sound healing, and concerts through the United States, through any groups or organizations that want to sponsor me. And the power in that is bringing people together in song. This is such a powerful thing to unite people in their sound and their singing and bringing in the vibration and frequencies of love, because we need connection. We need to come out of isolation and we need to feel safe. And as a tribe, when we come together in sound and song, we're actually activating ancient memories of being part of the bot, being of togetherness. And that elicits belonging. And right now, it doesn't even need to be said, we all need to feel much safer and much more connected and belonging, and start to bring forward more and more of what we can to create the world that we really want in our hearts. And I feel joining in our hearts, our breath, and our sound is pivotal to giving birth to that. So yeah, available to travel around the US and internationally.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love what you just said. I feel so passionate about just bringing us back to the simplistic tools that were used to be so ingrained into our culture: singing, dancing together,
Yeah.
just sitting in ceremony in circle, breathing, being out in the sun.
Yeah.
What is going to heal us on such a deep level. And we can get so stuck in all of the heady information out there, and it's it can be really simple and enjoyable. But yeah, bringing back the music and connection and community, it's so important. So thank you.
Music, dance, circle, and nature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's enjoy this. The healing never ends. I think that's a that was a big realization for me. There's always more layers, and that's what keeps it interesting. So we might as well enjoy moving through these layers.
Yes, beautifully said, beautifully said. You're such a wonderful teacher. I'm so blessed to know you and to have had some time to give you a little training. But you are a master soul, and you bring it. You brought it before we ever met, and I just see you continuing to go on out there and bring it. I'm so grateful. And actually, it relaxes me and lets me get on with my music. I'm like, oh, I don't have to teach intuition anymore. She got it down.
Yeah,
I think I'm singing.
I love when you're just, I see you just totally feel lit up when you're in the music, and it's such a gift. And thank you. Just words can never describe how much I love you, and thank you for sharing this incredible information and your story that so many years of wisdom. So thank you, Danae.
Thank you, Lindsay. Love you.
I love you too. And please reach out to us if you have any questions or want to learn more about all of this interesting stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Be well.